Hello, and welcome to this program entitled Managing Stress, Protecting Yourself and Your Business. Many of us perform very well under a certain amount of stress. Short periods of moderate stress can motivate us to keep working on our goals and push to overcome challenges. Large levels of stress over long periods of time can be harmful, and those of us who can prevent stressful situations or moderate our response to them can use stress to our advantage and change it from foe to friend. Our goals for this program are: define stress and the common causes of it. We will share some strategies to prevent stress and responses to it. We will also talk about the 4 basic decisions we can make when we find ourselves in a stressful situation. At its basic level, stress is an internal, physiological response to events outside our control. Since it is an internal reaction, there is no one else better qualified to manage our stress than ourselves. Each of us has our own set of stressors. Stressors are the factors that evoke a stress response in us, and what may cause me stress may not evoke a stress response in you. There are 2 types of stressors, internal and external. The internal stressors are typically the thoughts we allow ourselves. We can awfulize or muster ourselves silly by telling ourselves how awful things will be or how we must do things. This can be damaging when we get in the habit of stressing ourselves continually. Being aware and controlling our thoughts is a useful skill for business and eliminating stress. External stressors are the situations that we find ourselves in. These are usually crises like illness and disaster. Entrepreneurs are typically stressed by different things than employees. However, when looked at carefully, most people experience stress when faced with 4 common factors. And those factors include the unknown, not enough, too much, and lack of control. Let's look at each of these in more detail. First, the unknown. Future events or the outcomes of activities for which we were not present are unknowns. And for many people, the fear of unknown outcomes sets alight a line of thinking that can be difficult to manage. An example of this may be the stress we may feel when we know we have to meet with someone about a difficult topic, say an employee whose actions were unacceptable, or a supplier who shipped incorrectly and overcharged our account. On the home front, this can be when we are waiting for a loved one to return home, it is late, and they have not yet arrived. We can start to wonder or worry about the outcome of these things before they have happened, and this can lead to stress caused by our own thoughts. Next, not enough. When we do not have enough of something we think we should have, this can evoke stress. You may feel this when you sense that there is not enough time or not enough concern expressed for something that is important to you. Too much. This can be the opposite of not having enough of something. For example, when we have too much to do. This can also be coupled with the stress caused by the unknown. When we feel like we have too much to do, good planning and goal setting can alleviate some of the concern of the unknown. And the next common cause of stress, lack of control. Lack of control. Change is inevitable in the world, in us, and with each day. It has been said that people do not like change. Well, if that was true, we would eat the same food every meal, wear the same clothes every day, and do the same things all the time. Of course, people like to change, they like to improve and advance in their life, and change is simply the experience of something different. It is also true, however, that most people dislike change occurring or being imposed on them, as they have a lack of control and may feel their autonomy is threatened. Stress caused by feelings of lack of control can be offset by prevention strategies and reframing our ideas about the situation. We will talk more about responding to these common causes of stress. It can be very helpful to simply prevent stressful situations by setting up our environment and expectations. This allows us to avoid the unknowns, too much, not enough, and lack of control. We may not be able to eliminate all versions of these causes, and it is worth the effort to mitigate as much as we can. Stress, like risk, cannot be eliminated, but it can be managed. Preventing stress. Know your strengths and work with them. Set and articulate realistic expectations for yourself and others. This can be very helpful as it helps people know and reduce the stress caused by the unknown. Use SMART goal setting to determine what not to invest in, which will allow time and help us avoid having too much to do. Be proactive with a positive attitude. This one can be implemented the quickest. Simply changing our thoughts and seeing the bright side of a situation has gotten many of us through difficult situations with less stress than a negative victim style of attitude. Enlist help and resources. By enlisting help, you manage the stress of having too much to do. It is a very positive thing that we have many choices to help us prevent stress. Sometimes we need to recognize that we are stressed and select some things to do immediately to help ourselves. When you realize you are stressed, could you try one of these techniques to release the pressure? Breathe deeply. When our body is stressed, its natural response is to shunt blood to our extremities so we can run away. This leaves our vital organs with too much carbon dioxide and not enough oxygen. The exact opposite of what we need to help ourselves. So breathe. Simplify your mind and calm busy thoughts. As a professional, remain clear-headed so you can continue to operate at your optimal capacity. Go for a walk, physical activity to prevent the building anxiety. Allow yourself a temporary distraction. Read something funny, take your mind right off the problem and come back to it later. There is a fine line between avoidance or procrastination and the temporary break that will allow us to rejuvenate. Listen to your body and demonstrate discipline to get back at it when your mind and energy are ready. Celebrate and have some fun. It is difficult to experience stress when we are having fun. Create some fun and let yourself feel the stress disappear. To use stress as an excuse to not have any fun is counterproductive. Once we find ourselves in a situation to which we are experiencing alarm and can identify as stressful, we have 4 basic choices. Number 1, we can ignore the situation and let it happen. If the stress doesn't go away and you find yourself still feeling stressed after the fact, maybe ignoring the situation wasn't the right choice. Number 2, we could gripe or talk about it without doing anything. By talking about something, we may feel that we are dealing with the situation. Particularly in the short term, we may feel better. It can take 55 minutes of positive conversation to offset the negative effects of just 5 minutes of griping. It's not really worth it. Number 3, affect change. Take some action to affect change. It may take time to affect real change and get to the other side of a stressful situation. With good goal setting, perseverance, determination, and commitment, it is achievable. Number 4, leave the situation. You can do this mentally and physically. When necessary, we can use this strategy to give ourselves closure and put an end to a difficult situation for which real change is not likely. Leaving, however, is best left as a last resort. It is important to note that a life with no stress is unavoidable, and by always choosing to leave the situation, we may be sacrificing a better version of our future. By talking to others, we also may learn of other responses that we have not yet thought of on our own. We can learn from the experience of others and consider whether their strategies may work for us. For entrepreneurs, peer-to-peer groups, training courses, a mentor, and trusted advisors can often play this role very well. In closing, it is my pleasure to review with you some takeaway messages from this program. Stress can keep us moving or stop us in our tracks. Stress caused by fear can be managed by ourselves. We choose our responses to in creation of stress. We can increase our success by handling our stress well, and you are likely highly motivated to handle your stress, as the only people who will benefit from your success are you and those you share it with. I encourage you to review the other video and live trainings available through the Wellington Waterloo Community Futures. I expect the best for you and sign off in achievement, Carly O'Brien.